The year is 2750 BCE and you are standing beside the river Nile. In front of you stretches a vast body of water flowing northwards. You have traveled from the Mediterranean Sea down south as far as you can go until you reach the borders of the Great Grain. On either side of you stretches an endless landscape of cultivated farmland, dotted with villages, cattle, fields, and farmhouses. And further into the distance, shimmering heat haze rises off the sands of the desert, a constant reminder of how fragile this hard-earned prosperity is. For your village has been built on the banks of a river that gives life but also takes it away. Every year, the Nile floods. It is a force of nature that cannot be tamed, and when it comes with such force that no man-made structure can withstand it. For months, your fields will be covered by the waters of the Nile, forcing you and your neighbors to abandon your homes and flee to higher ground. Your entire way of life revolves around this annual cycle. But without knowing exactly when it will occur, there is always the risk that you may not be ready and prepared enough for what is coming. You need to know when the flood will come so that you can prepare for it and not be caught unaware. In the last few years, however, something miraculous has happened. The flooding has been less severe. Thanks to the efforts of the pharaoh and his servants, there has been a dam constructed in the south of the country, just before the Nile begins its journey through the fertile lands of Egypt. This has allowed the farmers to continue cultivating their crops later into the year, meaning that they can grow more food than ever before. But this has caused a new problem. Because the flooding in the south is less severe, it takes longer for word to reach the north that the flooding season is starting. And if the people of the north do not know when to leave their homes, then many of them will be caught unaware when the floods arrive. What is needed is some way to predict when the flooding will end and begin again, a way to tell how much the river will rise each year. But how do you measure the seemingly immeasurable? To answer this question, the Egyptians created the Nilometer, a device to predict when the annual flooding would arrive and how severe it would be. There are two main types of Nilometer. The first type is a simple one. It is called a basin Nilometer, and it consists of a small walled basin sunk into the ground beside the river. The basin is filled with water from the Nile, and it has a series of marks carved into its side at regular intervals. By measuring how high the water in the basin reaches, you can tell how much the Nile has risen since the last time the river was measured. When the water level is low, it means that the annual flood has been mild. But when the water level is high, it means that the flooding must have been severe. If the water reaches the highest mark, then it means that the